Hello and welcome to the next episode of Decode with Shyam Sekhar. As always, very interesting topic today and a topic which is also close to my heart, investing for children. To be very honest, I never thought about investing in the first year because I was very busy with my kid. And the first thought of investing came up when the child turned one, when I got a lot of cash as gifts. Yes, in India, we all do, isn't it? So, and then it set me thinking, what can I do with this money? And like everyone else, I opened a savings account for her. And then I decided, okay, let me make some mutual fund investments. But then, as usual, our jobs make us very busy. And I've been postponing that decision. And the child is turned 3 now, and I've been managing her preschool expenses with some of the investments that I have made, booking profits, some matured investments, redirecting them towards the fee and all that. But I know that I can do better. So today we are here to decode my plan and everybody else's plan too. I'm sure Shyam has a lot to share with us today on investing for our children. Hi, Shyam.
Hi. So I think you have started earlier than I did, but there's a very interesting personal side to this. My grandfather started investing for me from the moment I was born, and very small sums. Those days, there were many grandchildren, so a little bit of money for everybody, maybe once a year or something like that. So, how did they do it? I became a PAN card holder almost as soon as I was born, in the first year or so. So, I've held a PAN card for over 5 decades. And I've been, having these savings as part of my life from the time I was born. But they just put the money in a savings account. They didn't do much. Maybe they did PPF later. And NSC and NSS. There were 2 instruments, National Savings Certificate and National Savings Scheme. Those 2 were there. I had all this. But strangely, I didn't start investing for my children at the time they were born. I still wonder why I didn't do this. I thought I'm different from the older generation, or I was more modern, I thought. But turns out it's a mistake. Turns out it's a big mistake. And you know how the mistake got corrected? When we started, I thought one of our colleagues who's looking for clients said, "Sir, you give me 3 accounts." Right? So she made me open accounts for the 3 kids. Even then I said, "No, I can't do SIP. I don't take a high salary. It's a problem," and all that. So she said, "Okay, I'll like we tell the clients, I will give you lump sum alerts, and I'll talk to your wife and take the money." And generally, I have not applied my mind personally to this. It is the Aram's effort that she started getting money, and her aggression to get money made me invest 1 lakh or little over 1 lakh in the first few years. This went on for nearly 10 years. Then post-COVID, she convinced me to do an SIP, because by the time my salary had gone up a little bit, so I could do an SIP. So we started with maybe 10,000 or so. Then it went to 15,000. Now I do 27,500 for each of my kids. With 3 children. The interesting part is that we built close to 1 crore doing this over 16 years. And I have been actively speaking about this so that I make others also believe that they can do it. And more importantly, I don't want them to make the mistake I made. Okay, actually, you have not made as big a mistake as I have done. And the more I think about it, it strikes me that, you can completely take care of a child's education through compounding. The entire money, or most of the money, can come through compounding. It's very simple. If you compound for 18 years, after 18 years, you will have a sum of money which you have grown. How much of that end corpus will be capital and how much of it will be compounding? Do we think about it?
Yeah. No, I think all of us need that nudge, isn't it? So even though we might know everything, we might be doing things right for our own goals, we need the nudge to do it for children early enough.
At least I needed it.
All of us, even I needed it.
And I'm saying it openly for the simple reason that people should know that doctors don't take care of their health. And financial professionals don't have the time to think for themselves, or they don't have the presence of mind. Sometimes you tell the whole world what is right, but somehow you forget to take care of yourself. So that was the experience. So when I was thinking about this, it struck me that if somebody starts saving 6,000 rupees a month, any middle class person can do this for a child from the time the child is born. In 4 years, you would have saved 72,000 every year. So, what, 288 of saving, and some decent compounding to add to that, right? So, the 4th year, you have to put the kid in school. Usually, school admissions cost a couple of lakhs today, the first sum. So, you draw down from this corpus. Let's say the corpus is somewhere around 4 lakhs. You draw down 2 lakhs, still 2 lakhs left. Continue doing the same thing every month. At the end of every year, the fees will come from compounding. Almost. That's true. And as the fee goes up, try to inflate your installment to the extent of the current fee. Keep paying. Suppose your fee is 75,000, please ensure you pay 75,000. If it's 90,000, please ensure you pay 90,000 in 12 installments. Now, do people use installments for their fees? A very large section of the middle class actually take personal loans, which is repaid in 1 year. For paying fees. So at the time of fees, you take a loan, 12 installments you pay. Next year again you take another loan. Your credit score is also very good because you paid everything on time. Now I invert this whole thing and start at the time the child is born. And keep doing this. In between, you have your first birthdays and your grandparents giving blessings, and then uncles coming and giving gifts. So many things. Put everything into this.
No, we all talk of, bringing up children being extremely expensive, and we keep planning for the immediate expenses, but we don't think long term. That is where the fault lines lie, I guess.
It's very simple. If you do compounding for 18 years and you never borrow money first for education. You see, if a parent avoids borrowing money for education, his retirement is going to be financially much better. That's the point. The second point is, if a parent takes care of education through compounding and puts the same money that he would put for education through an investment, then what happens is, at 18, when the son or daughter goes to college, almost the entire sum required for college will be there. It will be there. And more will be there. You're only going to draw down a part. After college, you still have money left, even for higher studies or for marriage. So this is one long-running train of monthly investments and lump sum investments. Because when you get some money from somewhere for the child, it should be purposed correctly. 99% of families fail to do this. And in my opinion, if a family can do this effectively in a disciplined way, I don't think it should be a worry to have 2 children. It's not income which is the problem. It is lack of planning, lack of purpose. That's what I have seen. At least the math clearly tells only this. The problem with most people is when you start saying this, they think that you want them to do an SIP and therefore you're giving this math. It's not SIP that we want people to do. We want them to experience compounding in a way which makes their life richer.
That's true. Shyam, do you think that, people who already save for themselves through mutual funds, it's easier to nudge them to save for children through mutual funds? On the other hand, we find a lot of parents who are conservative themselves. They do save for their children and they do save very, very diligently. But then it goes into the products that you were just talking about when we started the show.
I had?
Essentially, your
NSS, NSC,
post office schemes. And see, they're being very, very honest and they're being very, very sincere in what they want want to do in their approach and everything. But, how do you think this is a larger lesson which all parents should keep in mind, because they do realize that school fees, it takes up a lot of their budget only very, very late into their, when the child starts, middle school or so.
Yeah. That realization comes only closer to college, actually.
Yeah.
Middle school is correct. Not even middle school, high school. Once you finish 10 only, you start worrying about how am I going to arrange money for college. You should have started when the son or daughter is born. Then there'll be no worry at the time of college. Now, come to think of it, what happened in my life, which was the savings bank account, post office, PPF, NSS and NSE, which is again through the post office, has only got replaced with Sukanya Samriddhi. The same thing, right? And people feel very proud that they're doing this great thing, right? I learned that there are better things that could be done after starting late for my children. That is why I take these principles, which my grandfather applied, which is investment in the child's name first. And bring compounding, which is what I learned. So I put it all together into a framework and say that from birth till adulthood, you're going to diligently save the money that you would eventually spend, but a little earlier. So if you give it 3-4 years, that 4 years of compounding gives you a head start, and then you keep on doing the same thing. And when, let's say, an investment does very well, like let's say you have a small cap home, you have a small cap fund, like 2024. You take 2 years fee and leave it in a floating or arbitrage or something which gives you 7% or 6%. So that fee is secured for 2 years. So you don't worry about stock market, you don't worry about Iran. I mean, you can do this beautifully, seamlessly. So that's what I've been telling a lot of people, and I'm a strong advocate of this. And I hope people bring compounding into their children's life at the time of birth of the child. That is my focal point.
Especially because parents are also extremely aspirational, isn't it? We want the best for our child. And then, when you find that there is restriction on how much you can spend, it makes you very sad, isn't it, ultimately? So
correct. I think that one important thing about your aspiration, like you were mentioning before we started shooting, about how, the fees keep rising. If your child is studying in a decent school, like, in Chennai, there are a lot of very, very good, decent schools. In every city, there are the reputed ones, not the posh ones. The fees will be modest. It will be anywhere 75, 80,000 will be the fee. Let's say you want to go to IB, IGCSE, you want private schooling, something more. The fee jumps to 10 times, sometimes even 25 times. So their aspiration is very high in people, that they want to send their child to a place where others are not sending their children. So this is a trend. If you want to do that, then even then compounding is needed. Important. Actually, it's all the more important, because when you have to create a bigger sum, you have to save more. Otherwise, you're going to put tremendous pressure on your present earnings to maintain this. So I think that once you set what you want, the standard of education, the level of expenditure which you are going to make, there's a budget. Once you budget that, then you do compounding to that budget real time, so that eventually compounding fulfills the need of that budget. That alignment should be there. And let's say you have actually saved for a very high-end school, but you're happy putting your children in a school which has good, strong social middle-class values. There are many schools like this. Then you create much more money for your child's future, which you can use later. Maybe you'll do it at college, maybe you'll do it at post-graduation level, maybe you'll fund an MBA out of it. And the beauty is, till the time, compounding is going to work for you. I think bringing compounding into the life of a child and making compounding pay for a child's education, these are two things.
True. And this extends to higher education also, in the sense college.
Beyond that, marriage also.
Okay.
Because that's another big ticket item today. See, I know parents We must have done hundreds of financial plans, hundreds of them. And I have not done a single plan or seen a single plan which doesn't have a marriage budget for the children. Not even one. Not a single Indian parent says that marriage is the expenditure of the child or son or daughter. No, it's mine. I have to do this. So, and today's value, I am going to spend so much. Everybody knows what is today's value of the marriage expense of their children. They don't know how much money they need for their own retirement. That is the kind of
social pressures that you face.
That is how our mindset is. That's how our mindset is. When that is the case, then I think that it's very important that we bring compounding early and get the maximum out of compounding. Then whatever you do for your children happens out of compounding.
Shyam, why do you think saving in the child's name is important here? Isn't saving for the child alone enough? Because when a parent realizes this, he or she would be responsible enough to save and set it aside mentally, isn't it?
Parents always repurpose their investments randomly. For example, a parent has to provide for their parents' health issues suddenly. Okay. They will immediately take this money out without thinking. If a young boy or young man or woman has to treat the parent for some serious ailment, without calculating, they will spend. So at that point, you are not thinking about your child's future. I am giving one simple example. If you're doing business, my grandfather was doing business. He never touched the money in the name of the children when the business needed money. Whereas his money would be the first go-to place. He never bothered about his own personal savings. He hardly had any money in his account. Whenever the business needed, he will take out. The reason he put the money in the names of all of us, my cousins, is that he wanted that money to be untouched. Sometimes, in some extreme, if they had taken money from the child's account to the business, he pay interest. Very principled. So, I learned when I turned 21 about how they had built a small sum of capital. It's not big money. At that time, this money was not even enough for me to do a post-graduation in the US. Let's say I want to do an MS in chemical engineering. This money was not enough. It would have barely paid for travel and maybe a year's fees. But even that money taught me that this is the way you should, do it. That money was the seed capital for my investing. Okay. My equity investing started from that money.
Understand.
So I knew that money came from a lot of hard work, sacrifice. And when I started investing in equity, I told myself, I cannot afford to lose this money. Then I cannot show my face to him or my father. So it's not just about money. It's about the message which I got, which I think is very valuable. And the measurement independently for a child, or if you have 2 children for each of them, if you have 3 for all 3 of them, that measurement gives the child also an account of how you have built capital for their future. So I got that measurement and message when I was 21. Now, luckily for me, though I started a little late, I started when my son was 10. But when he turned 18, this account was there. And the same thing applies to my daughter. My daughter started at the age of 1. So she was, the youngest one was lucky. We started as soon as she was born, like you did, right? From the first birthday. But yeah, I think that messaging for the child, you have a solid body of work to show.
Exactly. Children learn, seeing what you do ultimately.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. That is a great thing. I mean, the more I think about it, my respect for my grandfather goes up, right? In this aspect. So, I want to take that message which I learned to so many people. If I didn't learn it, what would I do? So there has to be a very deep connect for children with money.
Understand. I think these days this is another thing which parents also need to talk to children about. So, as you say, if you show them what you've done, it is proof enough. But children also need to take a leaf out of our books to understand, how money works and how you should put it to work better.
Once they start working, they put the money away.
Yeah.
We also have this modern parenting where you ask children to do some errands, some work in the house every day, and then you give, let's say, some money, maybe 50 rupees. And they take that money and they invest it. They say, put it in my account, transfer it to my investment account. I'll call my RM and send the 2,000. Okay. So they start doing all these little things.
Yeah.
Okay. And these make a big difference, make a very big difference because it's inculcation of the right financial habits, of the right behavior with money. And that inculcation also makes them respect money in a way which others don't, and makes them very cognizant of not losing money.
True.
Very self-aware and very mature in dealing with opportunity, dealing with their own greed. With somebody who doesn't have this inculcation and indoctrination, whatever you call it, grooming, raising, that person will be at a huge disadvantage. When did you start investing money in your own name? Tell me that.
Essentially, when I started working, I think my father was doing a PPF investment in my name.
From when?
From when I was much younger, maybe when I was in school or something. So when I started working,
Have you had a conversation with your father about this?
I don't remember.
You should. Because I'll tell you, the guy, he will tell you, and he'll be happy to tell you that this is when I started. My grandfather threw the passbook on the table and said, do you know when I started this, when you were born?
Okay,
it is dramatic.
Okay, understand.
You should have this conversation. Because
I remember because first 1 or 2 years into my working, so he said, now that you have started earning, see, I have this PPF account, so you give the annual contribution.
Correct.
So, which is what I did, and it matured in 2-3 years. So, must be like, minus 15 years since it was a PPF account. And then at the end of it, he said, see, it was a modest sum, it was nothing much. It was not like he was doing that 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh every year. So, I also did whatever I could. And at the end of it, he said, yeah, you can buy something for yourself if you want. Then I said, by then I was writing on investing and personal finance and all that. So I said, no. I then, started investing in mutual funds.
That connect is there in your life also. So it will be there in the lives of all the people for whom the parents have done separately. Now, go back to your question. You got the answer yourself. See, it has to be done that way. This is why I say that do the investing. Another thing, from a tax angle, and this is very important. You are saving in your name. You pay the tax. You are saving in a minor's name. Until 18, you pay the tax. You or your spouse, whoever has a higher income. Now, you take the money after 18. Your daughter gets that income first. And then, if she's not liable to tax, it's tax-free income for the child.
True. That's true. Yes.
So, compounding, that's tax-free. And you can take money out slowly also, right? If your fees is only 1 lakh per year, or 2 lakh or 3 lakh, it still be well within the threshold today. So there won't be any tax.
That's true.
In the student years. Whereas you will be spending tax-paid money.
Correct. Yes.
So cost of education also done this way, in terms of pre-tax income, is more advantageous to you. Otherwise, you'll be paying taxes and then spending the tax-paid money. Here, there's no tax. Also, you are definitely going to spend a significant part of your education cost through compounding. I mean, you're going to get the money through compounding and spend it. So, essentially, compounding is going to leave you with almost as much money that you invested.
Yes.
That's what 18-year compounding does.
True. It's much better than, taking huge education loans, isn't it?
There will be no loan.
Education.
I can manage this for anybody without a loan. Anybody who comes to us and wants to do this, we can do it beautifully. There's no problem. And many people are doing this. We have made a lot of people invest in their children's names. And I speak so often about my children and what we have done for them. They don't have a demat account. So I don't trade in shares for them. And the primary wealth is mutual funds. So we need a demat only for our private investment shares. In the sense, companies, if you give them shares, they need for that. Public shares, we don't do much. We don't do anything at all. So the entire compounding is being done only through mutual funds. So I tell a lot of people that they should do this way. And I'm continuously telling this so that people take this learning into their life. And today in this video, I mentioned about my own personal experience of having money grow in my name at a slower rate. Like your PPF, I also had the same thing. I had NSS, NSC, PPF, savings bank, no FD. Somehow business people don't think about FD. They don't have the time to do it or whatever. Money will just be in the SB account. So in the bank, when you go, the manager will be very friendly because there will be some 10, 20 accounts you're having 1 lakh. Those days it was a lot of money, right?
Shyam, what about gold investing? You've been talking of SIPs all along, but Indian parents, especially, I understand parents of girl children and boys equally are interested in gold, savings in gold. So what would you want to tell them?
So whether it's a boy or a girl, once the child is born, on the first month or so, there's a ceremony, right? You have the naming, cradling. Your buying gold starts at that time. So people put one small ring and small chain and one small bangle.
True.
Even for boys, they put bangles. I don't understand this, right? So they keep doing all these things. So it continues. And all this lies around. It just lies around. And then if it's a girl, you find the family saying that, oh, I'm going to buy jewelry for my daughter because I have a daughter. She has to get married. At the marriage, I'll need jewelry. So when she's 9 or 10, they're buying some jewelry. And they buy again. By the time she's 18, they've changed it once also. Okay, so there's 30% of making and wastage. When they buy, there's a second one also. By the time she gets married, there'll be a third making and wastage also. 3 cycles before marriage. So I always wonder, why do people buy jewelry for a child under the pretext that it is required for marriage? And imagine buying something for a daughter in the name of marriage 15 years ago, 15 years before she gets married. Would you wear that design? Would the daughter be caught dead in that design when she is 25? Chances are 0.
No, I faced a more practical problem where the sizes get too small every 6 months.
That's another. This size issue, I'll tell you.
You have to exchange it. There is no choice, absolutely.
You'll be shocked.
And children will lose it also.
You'll be shocked. At the age of 50, I had to convince my mother that all those little rings which, we had. This ring was given by my grandmother when I was 21. But all the other things, none of them fit. Not even this finger. So it took a lot of effort to convince my mother that let's, do something about this. It's just lying there somewhere. So people just don't want to change anything. It's all lying around. It's all wasted capital. So I'm not against people buying jewelry for their daughters at the time of wedding. But I think they should compound money and buy the jewel months before the wedding to the taste of the daughter, to the style of the times, and not keep on doing this for 25 years in the name of, the daughter.
Saving for the daughter.
You are only working for the jeweler.
True. That's
you are working for the Tanishs of the world or whoever your local jeweler is. You're wasting your money. That's what I would say. Because every time you're losing 30%. It's like paying a tax.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the equivalent of a tax. Making and wastage, every time you change a jewel, is like an income tax.
It's the same thing that you're saying. Essentially, get into, paper gold. Don't go into physical gold. That's
get into paper gold. Again, how do you do paper gold? People go and buy like now. Why should you buy? You should have bought 4 years ago. Again, you wait for the cycle to become favorable to you. Whenever it's again favorable to you, buy. Why do you buy at the peak price? Paper gold. All these things people should think through. I think people invest mindlessly in gold. That is my problem. I am not against investing in gold. But mindful investing in gold is important. Treat it as an asset class. It becomes a jewel only at the time of consumption, which is at the time of a wedding or whatever. I mean, it comes at a later stage. So that is something that people should take into the investing pattern also. No, you know it comes later.
Yeah.
Why do you prepare for it 15 years before, 20 years before? No logic.
Okay.
Again, I am not against people putting some one ceremonial thing for a child. I'm not against all that. But I am against continuously buying in the name of the child, mindlessly. The child can't wear jewels anywhere.
Yeah, that's very true.
The worst part, let me tell you. So, today you get costume jewelry or fashion jewelry which look like gold or diamond. You cannot differentiate.
True. Absolutely.
So, there is no point in buying the real jewelry for children.
True.
You should only buy these till they are getting married or something like that.
No, or there are options now, lightweight jewelry, isn't it? So what I have done is bought 14
You can buy heavyweight fashion jewelry. Why lightweight? So that is, that's what I believe.
Yeah.
You can have a box full of fashion jewelry for the price of one chain, which is a safety risk also, right? So I'm not against it, but I think this investing in the name of children
in physical gold is what you are against.
In jewelry is ridiculous.
Right. Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think until they become adult, you should do it. The same principle I told, allow it to compound 18 years and then you'll have more money to spend.
Yeah.
The same thing can be done in gold. The same principle, 18-year compounding, you give it and then you buy the gold jewelry whenever you want.
Yeah.
In fact,
so
you
you're
can have
saying
25 years.
Invest, even in equity mutual funds, you could invest and set aside a portion for buying gold.
You can set aside a portion for gold. You can buy gold funds when they're down and out. That's another very nice option.
Okay.
And when they go to the peak, like you're seeing the present, you can sell also. No problem. Sell, pay your tax, move it to equity. Do compounding in the best place at all times. And use that money to buy jewelry, which is consumption, at the right time. That's my view on gold.
Okay. That was investing for children, and I'm sure it has been a very lively discussion with a lot of takeaways for everyone. See you around in another episode of Decode with an interesting topic. Thank you.